From the Liberia Broadcasting System in Painesville, good evening and welcome to LNTV News Live. 30 minutes of news about Liberia, Africa, and beyond. I'm Cecilia Clark anchoring tonight's edition, and these are the top stories. President George Manawia assures Israeli investors that Liberia is safe for investment. Forestry Development Authority brings several dead species at its Wayne Town headquarters Wednesday. National government encourages to invest more in youth volunteerism. And away from Liberia, main opposition presidential candidate in the just ended Nigerian election rejects the election result, which previously announced President Muhammadu Buhari as winner. These plus many more interesting stories all packaged for your viewing tonight. But first, let's take a short break to be right back. Thanks for rejoining us. We now take our first development. President George Manawia says the Israeli-Liberia Forum has set the pace for both countries to explore opportunities to invest for the betterment of the people. The Liberian leader speaking at the forum noted in this amateur video that Liberia has put in place all legal, regulatory, and flexible requirements to ensure that foreign partners and businesses are given the opportunity to explore.
I would like to extend thanks and appreciation to the Paris Center for Peace and Innovation, the Africa-Israel Chamber of Commerce, and the government of Israel for organizing this all-important investment forum. This roundtable engagement, which brings the business community in Israel face-to-face with my sectoral ministers and officials, will for both sides the opportunity to explore options and possibility for investment in Liberia. During my inaugural address, when I took over the mantle of leadership as President of Liberia, I declared that Liberia is open for business. As a government, we have taken several policy initiatives to ensure that there is ease of doing business in Liberia. For example, our national business registry has been harmonized and simplified. Due to critical reforms at the National Investment Commission, potential investors now have a one-stop shop and a transparent list of regulatory requirements to establish their businesses in Liberia. Our investment initiative regime has also been reformed, enabling investors who qualify under our liberal system to benefit from significant fiscal reliefs. Also, under the chairmanship of the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, we have constituted a business climate improvement working group, which has since been identifying and tackling prohibitive bottlenecks that have been stifling the business and investment environment, leading to a more seamless process of investing in our country. The work of this group has now caused the reduction in the time of registering a business from 18 days to 5 days.
President George Manawia speaking at the Israel-Liberia Forum. The Forestry Development Authority has burned several deer species at its headquarters in Wintown. Addressing reporters, FDA Managing Director Mark Doyen stressed the importance of protecting wildlife in Liberia.
2018, we took the helm of leadership here, and what we saw was a booming wildlife parks and wildlife market. For us, I've said it before and I wish to repeat, it was a disservice, we consider a disservice to donors who spend their money to create protected areas and national park, and then right here in Monrovia, you see that there's a booming wildlife market here. So any donor who actually been spending that money for managing national park and protected area, and you come and see a booming market and wildlife market in Monrovia, you feel discouraged. We think it's unfair that people should get involved in such a thing. So we put into place the appropriate mechanism to make sure that this wildlife market will be destroyed in Monrovia and other parts of Liberia. What you see us doing here today is only a part of our effort to fight wildlife crime. Already we've constituted a wildlife unit, a wildlife confiscation unit. We've already recruited the staff. They're supposed to go on specialized training, and they will be equipped with drones to take photos, artificial intelligence, and take action on the basis of the available intelligence. They will be having motorbikes, they will be having vehicles, and they will be posted in strategic places in the city of Monrovia and its environment, and will carry on regular patrol outside Monrovia.
FDA Managing Director Mark Doyen. Monserrado County Senator Sir Joseph has donated assorted medical supplies to the John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital in Monrovia. Speaking to reporters, Senator Joseph said the gesture was part of efforts to buttress government in building the health sector.
There's a need to renovate another wing, as you did the last time, that have taken more patients in, and I saw that need because I saw patients sitting taking drips and what have you. So I thought it wise to bring some supplies, bed and mattresses to you today, so that to buttress the effort of the administration. I want to say thank you for all of the effort that you guys have been making, and in my own way as a senator of Monserrado County, it's my responsibility to make sure that I work along with you and other health centers within Monserrado County, that they have the necessary support that they deserve. So not just waiting for government support, but what can I do as a senator? So I thought it wise to bring those items to you in support of the entity. And I just also received 2 containers that are on the way coming. I received applications of 20 medical doctors. They also have written me they want to come. And today we received a team from Italy that want to also help to build our hospital in one of the hospitals in Monserrado County. And the Minister of Health told me that there's an urgent need for Grand Bassa County. So therefore we turn the opportunity to them so they can also help them in Grand Bassa County. So tomorrow evening I'm going to be taking the team from Italy to Grand Bassa so they can see the hospital and then they start work. So in a special way I now present those items to you to be used for the intended purpose to serve the people of Liberia. Thanks for your hard work. I know how much pressure JF.
Well, receiving the items, JFK Administrator Dr. Jerry Brown said the donation will enhance the work of the hospital to serve these citizens.
To help improve our healthcare delivery capability. GFK does appreciate every little donation that we receive from anyone. The beauty of it also for your part is that GFK is within your county, Montserrat, and serve as the primary referral center in the Republic of Nigeria, making our catchment population to be larger than any other hospital in Nigeria. For this reason, as we improve our services, we get overwhelmed by the number of patients that are coming to our doorstep. Since we got the emergency room in the outpatient service renovated, our outpatient service has tripled, meaning we're now receiving 3 times the number of patients we used to have a year before. Okay? Even our admission, the number of patients that are coming at our center that require admission has increased. And this will mean working on the infrastructure to do more rehabilitation so as to provide adequate space to provide bed and be able to accommodate as many patients. GFK was intended to be capable of providing bed occupancy for about 400 to 500 patients.
JFK Administrator Dr. Jerry Brown earlier was Montserrat County Senator Sir Joseph. President George Manawia has written the House of Representatives to consider rectifying 2 agreements, that's 2 loan agreements, between the government of Liberia and the African Development Bank. In his letter to the representatives, read by the House Chief Clerk, Major Sion, President Weah said, when ratified, the loan will boost the economy of the country and connect the MRU region.
One loan agreement between the Republic of Liberia and the African Development Fund, River Union Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire Road Development and Transport Facilitation Program, Phase 2. And 2, loan agreement amongst the Republic of Liberia and the African Development Bank and African Development Fund as administrators of the transit support facility, River Union Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire Road Development and Transport Facilitation Program, Phase 2. These 2 agreements are in continuation of the African Development Bank support to the regional integration of the River Union member states, Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone, and Guinea, and in support of Liberia's core agenda for prosperity and development. As you are aware, the bank financed the ongoing first phase of the MRU transport program, covering 3 MRU countries, Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, and Guinea, in order to open up the countries and bring to bear the innumerable economic potentials of these countries.
In another letter, President George Manawia also requested the lawmakers to rectify the mineral agreement between the government of Liberia and the Hummingbird Mineral Resources.
To submit to your honorable body for ratification, mineral development agreement between the government of the Republic of Liberia and Hummingbird Resources, Liberia Incorporated. Honorable Speaker, Hummingbird Resources Limited is a UK-based mining company for the extraction of gold. Area of extraction is primarily within Sando County, but also covers part of the southeastern counties of Maryland, Grand Crew, and River G. It is estimated to contain over 4 million ounces of gold. Hummingbird's
Montserrado County District 8 Representative Akaras Gray proffered a motion that the instruments be sent to committee for scrutiny.
That will place the various agreements of bills in category. That one, that the financing agreement, smallholder agricultural transformation, and agribusiness revitalization projects, and concession agreement between the Republic of Liberia and Nima Rubber Corporation, that number 1 and number 4, let me repeat so that our people can take the record, that number 1 and number 4 be sent to the following committees: the Committee on Ways, Means and Finance and Agriculture.
The parent body of the Press Union of Liberia will on Thursday open the Book of Condolence for one of its killed and fallen members, E. Blamo Robinson. According to a dispatch from the PEL, several Liberian journalists are expected to pour in to sign the Book of Condolence for its fallen colleague. The veteran Liberian journalist and lecturer of broadcasting died at the St. Joseph Catholic Hospital on February 10, 2019, after a brief illness. Mr. Robinson served as a renowned broadcaster and producer at the Liberia Broadcasting System for over 20 years. He was known for his professional style of broadcasting, especially during the famous ELBC magazine program, Infomix. EBR or Infomix Pape, as he was affectionately called, has impacted several young and productive journalists in Liberia and has been a role model for many in the media landscape of the country. If you're just joining us, it's a reminder that you are watching LNTV News Live. 30 minutes of news about Liberia, Africa, and beyond. I'm Cecilia Clark anchoring. We take a short break, but when we come back, we bring you sports. Please keep tuned.
Pleasant welcome to the sports, where we start with the Liberia Football Association 2019 league activities, because it got off in the first division today around several venues, with the defending football champions Barracks Young Controllers were kick-starting the defense of their title on a promising note, though the goalie, when they were given the run for their money. BYC defeated Kedris FC at their own home ground in the PHP community, the Blue Field 2-1 on Wednesday, as the LFA First Division League got off. On the other side, Antoinette Tottenham Stadium, it was not a good news for Leicester FC. The former champions suffered a 1-0 defeat at the hands of NPA anchors. The league also continued in the North Stars at the North Star Stadium in Mount Barkley, where Nimba United got a 2-1 win victory over Monera Club Breweries in Wednesday's toughest clash at the Nesebido Stadium. LPRC Waters staged a 2-0 victory over returning FC Facel at the Nesebido Stadium. The LFA National League will continue at the weekend. Meanwhile, the LFA says the women division will not come on this Friday until 17 March. According to reports, Women Football Club are still searching for money to get their names registered for the LFA competition. Still talking about the LFA, the second vice president at the Liberia Football Association, Wilma Smith, says efforts have been made for grassroots football to take a different look in the country. But the LFA vice president for operation, Wilma Smith, speaking to this station, said the LFA is doing all in its powers to ensure that Liberian grassroots football can get on par with others around the world.
Our intention was not to qualify. The focus was to begin rebranding, looking into the future and building a new national team. Because a lot of people who are on the national team, who were on the national team when we started this program, people who have been around for the last 10 to 15 years. These are people who cannot rely on going to the future. So the focus has been on grassroots football development. Now that we are at the point where there's a possibility of qualification, even though that was not a priority number one, we cannot afford to gamble this. So we want to put in our best, we want to put in our all, and the chief patron of sports is the driver behind this. We've taken the game very seriously. The mobilization committee, like I said to you, are reaching out. They are contacted institutions. As secretary of the committee, I can tell you that those institutions are responding very well. We just need to make some follow-ups and to ensure that everything that is needed for that game will be made available.
Wilma Smith is the LFA Vice President for Operation, well elsewhere. Kolo Toure, the former captain of the Elephants of Africa, is back in the English Premier League, but this time not as a player, as a manager. He's been named or appointed as the first team coach of Leicester City, and he will join Brendan Rodgers as the new guys in charge at Leicester City. Both of them left Celtics in recent time, and the pair have formed a successful coaching partnership at Celtics, joining forces in 2017, helping them to win the triple last season. He won more than 100 caps with Africa and scored one of the winning penalties in the Africa Cup of Nations final in 2015 when Africa defeated Ghana Black Stars. That's it for the sports.
Many thanks for rejoining us, and these are the top stories we are following. President George Manawia assures Israeli investors that Liberia is safe for investment. Forestry Development Authority burns several dead species at 8 Winstown headquarters Wednesday. National government encourages to invest more in youth volunteerism. And away from Liberia, main opposition presidential candidate in the just ended Nigerian election rejects the election result, which previously announced President Muhammadu Buhari as winner. We take this development. The Ministry of Internal Affairs says the 2018 Service Center contribution to national revenue generation was impressive. According to the technical assistant at the Internal Affairs Ministry, Emmanuel Wenyu, about 27,000 people across rural Liberia made use of the service center and commended national government for building its decentralization drive. Here now is Mr. Wenyu releasing the 2018 statistics to LNTV News when he appeared on the Super Morning Show Wednesday.
27,537 persons going to obtain services, right? Just going obtaining whether it's birth certificate or marriage certificate or business registration or driver lessons depending on the county, or lessons plate depending on the counties of where the transport operates now. They have gone there. 27,000 persons in just 1 year.
At the same time, the internal audit, that's the Internal Affairs Technical Assistant, lauded the government for helping to fulfill its decentralization initiative. He said the new law would help transform the living standard of Liberians in the rural parts of the country.
Signing of the Local Government Act of 2018, as it is commonly called, it sets the basis. It tells Liberians about the commitment of His Excellency Dr. George Weah when his premises talk about taking power to the people, under the slogan of the CDC, power to the people. This law speaks directly to that. It tells about governance, some of the issues that we have faced long ago, as a country, participation of the citizenry into decision making, into participation, into planning and monitoring, and the entire running of government.
Internal Affairs Ministry Technical Assistant Emmanuel Wenyu. Young Liberian Women Organization for the Improvement has launched the Global Environment Facility and Civil Services Organization Network and Zero Mercury in Liberia. Environmental Protection Agency Executive Director Nathaniel Blama launched the Zero Mercury Working Group on Wednesday in Monrovia. We have a report compiled by Rachel Colley.
The program began with a parade from the Environmental Protection Agency's building through town, with GEF CSO Network and the Zero Mercury members holding placards with slogans that reads, "Mercury is harmful to pregnant women. Say no to the use of mercury." Members of the campaign also raised the red flag, calling on the government to ratify the Manimata Convention. Environmental Protection Agency Executive Director Nathaniel Blama, launching the program, said the EPA will partner with the GEF CSO Network.
We can't be everywhere, but the CSOs are in almost every community. So we want to partner with you in executing some of our mandates. One of the mandates of the EPA is to show effective environmental education and awareness. We think that one component that the CSO can be very effective in educating people on the danger, abuse, misuse, importance of different environment spheres.
In remarks, United Nations Development Program UNDP resident representative to Liberia, Pa Lami Bea, urged CSO networking groups to implement finances allocated to them to benefit the society.
Network in the sense that it comprises more than one entity. And I'm happy to see the array of CSO representatives here already. And allocation does not mean utilization. If there is 1.3 million available.
Rachel Colley with that report. Deputy Youth and Sports Minister Ene Kwame wants government invest more in youth volunteerism across Liberia. Speaking at a high-level retreat on volunteerism, Minister Kwame vowed to engage government regarding youth volunteerism and called on partners to aid Liberia in reintegrating and rehabilitating at-risk youth in Liberia.
How we can also negotiate with the government to take some responsibilities to pay for their volunteers to do some national volunteering with the UN office here.